Hello, salespeople. Emily Jeffes. I want to share with you today a CIA technique that we use in sales all the time. We just call it something slightly different. The psychological principles are all the same. At the end of the day, humans are selling to humans and humans are spying on humans. So let's talk about what that is. Who am I? I am a professional sales coach and trainer, and I work with some companies whose names you would probably recognize. But importantly, I am a salesperson first, and I still sell every single day. I'm 100% commission, and I have to sell myself and my services to my clients in order to work with them. So I can promise you that everything that I'm bringing to you is based in reality and not fluff or outdated advice. So let's get into it. I'm actually going to play for you a clip of a CIA officer who was explaining this technique through a very simple example of Whole Foods to make it make sense for all of us non-CIA folk and how it works. And then I'm going to talk to you about how we do this in sales. So let's go.
Say there's a young lady stocking produce and you get in there and I say, all right, Stephen, your goal is to go figure out how much she makes in 60 seconds and you're not allowed to ask any questions or be awkward. And that's tough, right?
60 seconds.
It sounds really tough.
And don't be awkward.
So if you went over to her, and this is a generalization just to get you to understand what elicitation is, and said, hey, I'm trying to find the baby carrots. And she walks you over there, but while you're walking, you say, I just read this article online that says all Whole Foods employees just got bumped up to $26 an hour. That's fantastic. And she turns around and goes, what? No, I make 17. So now she doesn't feel like she's been pressed or questioned about how much she makes. She's correcting you. Mm-hmm. Or if let's say you got into an Uber tonight and you said, I just read this article that Uber drivers were one of the top most highly satisfied employees in the country. You're going to get a correction. And you're going to be like, what? Where did you read that? So triggering a need to correct the record is one of the easiest ways to use elicitation, but it's only one.
Okay, we're going to stop on that one. Triggering a need to correct the record is the psychological principle that the sales questioning technique that we usually call presumptive questioning or presumptive statements works on. So let me give you an example of how this might play out. Let's say you are a supplier who is trying to sell to a manufacturer. You find out that they have been working with the incumbent for 5 years, but they're telling you about a problem they recently had with this supplier, and that's why they brought you in. So presumptive questioning would help me really clear the air on how real this opportunity is, because let's be honest, if they've been working with the same supplier for 5 years, and this is the first problem that they've ever had, chances are very good they're just mad, but they're gonna stick with them because it's too much to change. Or if they've had a lot of problems with the supplier the whole relationship, I really have to wonder if it's real, because why didn't you do something about it before now? Why did it take you 5 years? So I'm really trying to understand what is the nature of the relationship right this second. So if I find something like that out, you've got this problem, you're telling me about it, and I can see that you're mad, I might use some elicitation or in other words, presumptive questioning to say something like this. I hear you, and that sounds really frustrating. I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but I am a little bit confused because you've been working with the supplier for 5 years. So surely when you went back to them and explained what was going on at the plant, they did everything in their power to fix it as quickly as possible. I mean, you've been a good customer for 5 years, right? I'm going to find out pretty much immediately if that is a record that needs to be corrected. And they're going to tell me the history, they're going to tell me how they responded to it. Usually what we find is that usually people don't leave a supplier because of a mistake. They leave a supplier because of the way they handled the mistake. So I'm gonna find out a lot about how that incumbent handled the mistake to figure out how real is it about their likelihood of making a change. Or here's another example. We work with companies who have had to scale really quickly. And because they've had to scale really quickly, they really don't have the processes worked out to help them through that transition. They're really doing things for a smaller size business, but now they're bigger and it's just not working. But from what I can tell, you have really grown very slowly and steadily thoroughly and carefully. So I'm sure you've got all those processes worked out. I'm not sure if you would really have a need for help with something like that. And then I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let them correct the record if there is a record to be corrected. Here's another one. You probably have a really solid tech stack for your operation already. So you see what I'm doing? I am saying something that I actually don't know if it's true or not, but if it's not true, they're going to correct the record and I'm going to be able to find out whether or not there's real pain there, whether or not there's a really opportunity here for me, and I'm going to be able to qualify this conversation a little bit more. Salespeople sometimes have a little bit of trouble with this concept, at least initially, because we want to be the expert. We want to know what they should do to fix their problem. And so it can sometimes feel like it's going against the grain to say, yeah, but you probably got all of this worked out. But the truth is, what I'm doing is I am disarming that prospect. I am making it safe for them to say, well, actually, we don't have it all figured out, because I've just proven to them that I'm not desperate. I've proven to them that I'm not going to push and pressure them. And if they are in fact okay where they are, I'm okay with that, which is a much better approach than saying, I bet you've got lots of problems that we can solve. I bet you're a hot mess over there and I'm here to save the day. It's so much easier to get a prospect talking about their problems when I come to them assuming you must not have any problems than it is if I go in to try to save the day. I hope this was helpful. We can build this channel together. If there are psychological principles that show up in selling that you want me to cover, let me know. Sales challenges, situations, scenarios, sticky things that you want me to talk about, send them my way and I will. Remember, the world's best salespeople are not magically born with the skill. They are not specially gifted. They are trained and I train them. Good selling.